On the home front, the U.S. Supreme Court this week heard arguments in a landmark case that may likely have long-lasting implications for religious freedom in American public life. High school football coach Joe Kennedy was fired from his job in Bremerton, Washington, for praying on the 50-yard line at the conclusion of each game.
I just want to be able to practice my faith after a football game. Nobody should have to be fired or worried about their job if they show any signs of faith.
Here to discuss this important religious freedom case is political commentator and education policy strategist Angela Morabito. Ms. Morabito is a former press secretary of the U.S. Department of Education. Angela, it's good to talk to you again. So this is a case that isn't really getting a lot of attention. What's at stake here, not only for Coach Kennedy, but also for America?
Well, it's great to see you, Gary, and this could and should be a watershed moment for religious freedom in American schools. Coach Kennedy liked to pray at the 50-yard line after football games, and sometimes students noticed what he was doing and said, "Hey, can I join in?" He said, "It's a free country," so they did. Some of them decided to kneel and pray with him, others didn't. But the school district took notice, and he ended up losing his job because they said that he was appearing to endorse a religion, that he was even coercing players to pray. Now, that's not true, and it's kind of astounding that this case ever reached the Supreme Court. But the Defense of Freedom Institute has filed an amicus brief saying that this coach was well within his First Amendment rights to pray, and we're very optimistic that the court will see this cut and dry case for what it is and rule in Coach Kennedy's favor.
The argument against Coach Kennedy, of course, is that his public expression of faith when he prayed alone at the 50-yard line after the games actually pressured members of the football team to join him. Now, Justice Elena Kagan expressed concern the players could feel coerced into participating. The Establishment Clause, of course, of the U.S. Constitution prohibits governments from sponsoring prayer. So am I missing something here, Angela? Did the school district or Coach Kennedy actually coerce or require those students to pray? Was their status on the team or their grades affected if they didn't?
Not at all. This was not the pray-to-play scheme that the opposite side of the story is claiming that it is. In fact, plenty of the players and the athletes didn't even really notice it was happening. There were, instances where they were chanting the fight song or walking through the stands after a game. This started off as one man who just wanted to bow his head and then thank God for the game or a wonderful day, or he's spoken at length about his connection to his faith. This started off as a one-man event, totally personal, but people took notice, wanted to join in. There's no coercion in any of that. Now, ironically, the school district actually tried to coerce Coach Kennedy into hiding his faith. They even suggested that he go pray in a janitor's closet after the games. And if what he's doing is coercion, then so is bowing your head to pray before you have lunch in the school cafeteria. It's a really absurd premise.
And two members of the Supreme Court suggested that a ruling against the coach could have serious implications. Justice Samuel Alito asked whether a school employee could then be punished for carrying a Ukrainian flag on school property. And then Justice Brett Kavanaugh questioned whether the school could actually fire someone for making the sign of the cross before a game. Your thoughts on that?
Those are extremely valid questions, and it shows you just how wide-ranging the ramifications of this decision will be. This should be a no-brainer that you don't check your right to religious freedom at the schoolhouse door. No matter where you are, those First Amendment rights still apply. That is at the core of this case, and it's what the Defense of Freedom Institute is saying in our amicus brief, that this should be a really simple thing. People are allowed to express themselves in school, no matter really what that expression looks like. Coach Kennedy clearly wasn't harming anyone. And displays of faith have generally been accepted in public schools, maybe not culturally, but legally. You do have the right to pray, even if you're in a public school.
And Angela, here's how Coach Kennedy's lawyer summed it up.
What Coach was doing was just simply taking 15 to 30 seconds on a knee by himself at the 50-yard line. And the First Amendment clearly protects that kind of activity. And if it doesn't, then the promise of the First Amendment is all but dead.
So your prediction here, Angela, which way do you think this will go? I'm kind of guessing here that based on some recent religious freedom rulings, the majority of the justices are likely to side with Coach Kennedy. What do you think?
I certainly hope that's the case, and I think he stands a great chance, because when you look at the facts of this case, you see quite clearly that this was one man exercising his religious freedom. Because a few people decided to join him, that doesn't change the core of this issue, that religious freedom still applies in American public schools. I'm hopeful that the justices will see it the same way, and I believe the facts support it.
Okay, First Amendment all the way. Angela Morabito, thank you for being with us, Angela.
Thank you.